Hi, today we're going to be learning about plot. And the best way to learn about plot is through a story plot map. Now, the plot outlines the sequence of events that happen in a story. We always have the exposition. This is the start of the story. This is where you learn about who the characters are and what setting they are in. So, for example, if we take the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, in the exposition of the story or the beginning of the story, we learn that we have Jack, we learn we have a cow, we learn that he has a mom, we learn about the giant. So as after we're introduced to all the characters and where they're at, in the case of Jack, he's in a farm, we start reading about the rising action. And this is where the main character faces a series of conflicts. In the example of Jack and the Beanstalk, Jack goes to the market to sell his cow because they're so poor. And instead of selling his cow for money and food, he ends up making a deal with the con man and selling the cow for magic beans. Then he goes home and his mom throws the beans outside the window. And we know that the next morning, Jack wakes up to this huge beanstalk that goes all the way to the heavens. So this is where we get to the climax of the story. This is where the most exciting part of the story happens. We know that Jack climbs that beanstalk. He gets up there and he starts sniffing around and he sees the treasure. He sees all the exciting things that are up there. And Jack actually makes several trips up to that beanstalk. So that's the most exciting part of the story. Once we find out what that most exciting part of the story is, that's when the story's starting to end, the falling action. This is when we find out that the giant sniffs around and smells Jack literally. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an English lad. And then he chases Jack down the beanstalk. And what happens? Jack basically cuts the beanstalk down and kills the giant. So now we come to the end of the story or the resolution, and we find that Jack, because he stole from the giant many times over, ends up being a wealthy man. Don't follow Jack's example. Work hard. And so now you've learned about a plot diagram and what plot is. Can't wait to see yours.